Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another battle to the death for you. Today we have the Hogue Deca versus the Benchmade Bugout. Doing this in a bit of reverse order, I do have to admit. I've not done the full review of the Deca yet. That's coming in a couple of days. But I've had one for a few days. I did a Warncliffe unboxing a while ago, and now I have a loaner of these two with the clip point, the more standard version. That's why I'm showing that one on here. But I'm doing it kind of reverse order because you guys have been inundating my mailbox, my inbox, all of the various ways you can contact me, my Instagram messages, all that stuff, saying the Deca is a bug out killer. The Benchmade Bugout has already become an almost kind of iconic knife, even though it's only been out a couple of years, maybe even a little less than that. And I just wanted to get this out of the way, get the battle to the death done, and say what my opinions are. My final conclusion is going to be pretty complicated, so this is one, if any of these you want to stick around to the end for, it's this one, because I came up with a pretty complicated conclusion at the end of this, and we will get to that. We're going to do it as we always do, though, the 7 categories: design and aesthetics, quality, blade, ergonomics, carry, deployment, and value. And we're going to add up the scores, and at the end, we're going to pick a winner. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the knives individually first, and then we'll do some stats and stuff. We'll start with the Bugout. You guys are probably pretty familiar with this if you watch YouTube knife reviewer stuff at all. This thing has made a lot of appearances on my channel and a lot of appearances on other people's channels as well. This is just the normal standard original one. I got not one of the first ones. I think it was probably the second production run, but I've really enjoyed it. S30V blade, Grivery handles. It's Benchmade's word for fancy plastic. I really like it. The blade is amazing. I love the size of it. I think it's a perfect size, and it is super light. You'll see that when we get to the stats, but it's just become like an iconic Benchmade knife. It is their #1 seller, last that I heard, and there's a lot to like about it. Yes, some people do complain about the Grivery handles and that you can squeeze it and all that stuff. I've never found that to be a problem. I think that is a wholly overblown issue. In daily use, I don't think it's really a big deal. There are a ton of aftermarket upgrades for it now because it becomes so popular. You can get really nice aftermarket scales, carbon fiber, G10, titanium, whatever the hell you want. So you can customize them to the end of the earth, and a lot of people do that. There are several different colorways available. Benchmade has a fully blacked out version. Blade HQ has a fully blacked out version. Benchmade themselves make a green with a black, or with a grayed out blade, gray Cerakote blade. There's also the new G10 one that went out. It was a limited edition, went out really quick. I hope that one comes in production. If it does, we'll be doing this test all over again. But that was a limited edition. It's come and gone. Resale value on them is insanity. So don't even think about that one. Forget I even mentioned it. But really nice knife. It's going to be around forever. It's an icon already. Very quickly reached icon status. Probably a world record, I would say. But the challenger to the throne is the Hogue Deca. The Deca, meaning this is 10 years that Hogue has been making knives. They are more known for, or used to be more known, probably still more known for gun grips and gun parts. I'm not a gun guy, so I'm not really super familiar with all their stuff, but I hear it's very good. But their knives are great too. And now that the axis lock that Benchmade pioneered, that the patent is off, they're using it. They do upgrade to Wolf springs, which we'll talk more about. They're very nice, great company, and make really high quality Omega springs. You're getting 20 CV and G10 instead of F30V and Grivery for not a huge price difference. $120 for the Bugout. You're looking at about $140 or $148 for the Deca. At the time I'm putting this up, that's kind of ambiguous. They were $140 on the Hogue site. They went up to $148. They're still $140 on Blade HQ. So I don't know, a little bit more if you want the coated blades. They do come in several different colorways. But let's do some specs and size comparisons before we get too much farther. The Deca also, by the way, comes in 2 different blade shapes, which we'll get to when we get to the blade. I'll show them both. I have them both here. So we'll start out with the Hogue. As far as the specs go, we have an overall length of 7.5 inches, blade length of 3 1/4 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.9 inches handle thickness of 0.44, and a weight on this version about 2.4 ounces, little hair under 2.4 ounces. On the Bugout, we have an overall length of, again, right about 7.5 inches, maybe a hair under that. Blade length, 3¼ inches. Blade thickness, again, 0.9 inches. It might be a couple thousandths thinner than what is on the Hogue, but not by much. Handle thickness, 0.42 inches, and a weight of just 1.9 ounces, so extremely light. Now, let's get into our scoreable categories. First up is design and aesthetics. I always say this is the most subjective, and so you pick as you go. It's beauty's in the eye beholder and all that kind of stuff. I think the Bugout's a good-looking knife. It's fine. The Hogue has some issues with the way it looks. Primarily, there's so many very large screws. Which it kind of throws me off a little bit. But even no matter what color you get the Bugout in stock, whether it's the blackout or the OD green with the coated blade, it doesn't have this. It doesn't have the Damascus, as Hogue calls it. You can get it in this blue color. There's also, I have one here that I have ready for when I do the full review. This tan version with the blacked out blade. You can also get it, as I mentioned, with the Wharncliffe blade, which we'll show now, but we'll also show again here shortly. You have a lot of options. There are a lot more colorways. You can't just get it with a plain black handle. You don't have to get the Damascus if you don't like the look of it. You can just get plain black. Yeah, I gotta go Hogue on that. This Damascus is just really pretty. I just really, really like it. And even with all this excess screws, I like that quite a bit. So gotta go Hogue on design and aesthetics. There are a lot of cool custom Bugouts that look fantastic, but again, they're custom, so don't really count those in this. Quality. Hogue. This one was not close. As I alluded to earlier, I don't think that being able to do this with the scales really matters in day-to-day life, but when you can't, which you definitely can't on this, there's no freaking way that's moving, it does make it feel like a more quality piece. It just feels, in your hand, it just feels like a more quality piece, and it's not that much more expensive, 20 bucks. It's not a big deal. The hardware is nicer, all of it, but the hardware is nicer. Benchmade has in the past had some quality control issues. I don't really think that's much of a thing as much anymore, but you have higher quality springs. It's the same design, but the Wolf springs are a bit thicker, a bit nicer. Yeah, Hogue all the way on the quality stuff. Absolutely, I would go Hogue. Blade. This one was tough. I'm gonna bring out the Wharncliffe. This one's actually mine, by the way. This one's a loaner. I really thought I was going to give this to the Bugout just because I thought it would be a better slicer. You're looking at 20 thousandths behind the edge in the Bugout, 24 thousandths behind the edge on the clip point of the Deca. You're looking at, what was it? I think it was 28 and 24 on the Wharncliffe in the different, because it's a multi-grind, so you have different thicknesses behind the edge. Blade stock, pretty similar. But the slicing difference, I've been hacking through some cardboard and stuff the last day and a half, and I can't tell a giant difference. I thought that even though this is S30V and these are 20 CV, which is a much better steel, I really thought that I was still going to give it to this. I thought this would be a much better slicer. But in day-to-day, I don't notice a giant difference in it. I just don't. And both of them, all three of them, I guess now, since I have three different ones out here, all three of them don't have tips that you're going to want to be doing anything crazy with. I think they're equally dainty as far as that goes. So Wharncliffe maybe has a bit thicker, I don't know. This is a slightly better slicer, though. You have choices with the Hogue. I don't know, I'm going to call it a tie, because this is a slightly better slicer, but not as good as steel. If this was S35VN on the Hogues versus S30V on the Benchmade, I would give it to the Benchmade, because it's close enough. But 20 CV, really good steel. and I've had a previous Hogue with M390, and I know that, which is basically the same stuff, and I know that they do a really good job with it. I'm gonna put the warning away for now. I think we've established there's 2 different blade shapes, so choose which one you want. Yeah, I just got to call it a tie, which I was not expecting. I was really expecting to like the Bugout one a lot better. As far as ergonomics go, I got to go Bugout, which I was kind of surprised. Slightly thicker handles on the Hogue, not that big a difference. The Grivery, is it as pleasant to touch? No, it's not as pleasant to touch as the nice milled G10 on the Hogue, but there's just less stuff going on the Bugout grip. There's just less stuff going on. I guess that's the best way to describe it. I don't have a bunch of screws that I can feel. I don't have a pocket clip I can feel, and I got to give it to the Bugout. Even though, yes, the G10 is much nicer to touch, and maybe it fills the hand just a bit better, and it has some jimping, but there's just a lot going on here. Nothing unpleasant. It's just there's a lot going on when you hold on to it. So can't give it to the Hogue. Gotta give it to the Bugout on that one. As far as the carry goes, easy win. It's the Bugout, primarily because the Hogue does not come with a deep carry clip. I think if you're in this lightweight knife category, then you probably should have one, and they don't. I have not. Also, another reason I've not done the full review is I think I found an aftermarket clip that's going to fit this. So I will say the clip off my Kershaw Atmos fit this. So I ordered an aftermarket clip for a ZT 0450, and it should also fit down in that recess. So it looks the same. We'll see when it gets here, but we will see. But yeah, deep carry clip, thinner, lighter. It's easy, not as tall in the pocket. Easy win for the Bugout. Absolutely much nicer to carry. Deployment. It's another one I had kind of a moment with. You have to take into account the Wolf springs. Hogue has not done enough to really for sure say that they're going to be more reliable than the Omega springs on the Benchmade. But I think they probably will be in the end, but I don't know for sure. And I like the thumb studs a lot better on the Benchmade. As far as action goes, the Hogue is slightly smoother, but I really like accessing the thumb studs and using the thumb studs on the Benchmade more. As you can see, they're both totally drop shutty. There's no issue there. But it's just these little, I don't like the studs as much. This is a much nicer thing to touch. So I think if you had gloves on, you'd probably prefer the Hogue, but I think for day-to-day use, when you don't, the Bugout's just more comfortable to use. So, but this is smoother, and it's got those stronger springs. I'm just going to call it a tie because I don't really know. I think in day-to-day, maybe this would be slightly more comfortable to use, but this is so smooth, the Hogue, and they're just getting broken in, and they're still great out of the box. I know that my Bugout took a little while to break in, and the Hogues do not. And I think those springs are going to be better in the long run. So I'm going to call it a tie. I want to call it for the Hogue, but those thumb studs make me stop from going over to the Hogue side. Value. The Hogue. You can 20 CV and G10 instead of S30V and fancy plastic for $20 or $28 more, whichever price winds up being the one it settles on. The Hogue. Absolutely, you get more choices with the Hogue. It comes with a nice little carry pouch and all this stuff. You know, it doesn't. I think I have one right here. Yeah, it comes with a nice little carry pouch and all that, and it just feels like you bought something special. Benchmade comes in a very nice box, but it comes with a little Oakley style, little bag. But yeah, I just think value Hogue definitely, primarily because that 20 CV, and they're both made in the USA. There's no difference there. But yeah, gotta go value Hogue. So where does that leave us? That leaves us at 3-2 with 2 ties for the Hogue Deca. So the conclusion should be, yes, you're all right. It is the Bugout killer. But that's not my conclusion. I'm gonna give it to the Hogue won fair and square, but I'm not getting rid of either of these. I'm gonna pull out mine for this conclusion. So because I have the Wharncliffe one, I might get one of these. I don't know, but yeah, I'm keeping both of these. Neither of these are going anywhere. The Bugout is very useful for the channel, so obviously I keep it on for that anyway, because it is great for comparisons and size comparisons and all that. But even beyond that, I just really like it, and it is so lightweight. Yes, it's only what, half an ounce difference, but it feels like more than that. This carries so much nicer. I just think, even though I don't think this knife was designed to be a lightweight, that's just the way it came out. And where this was designed to be a lightweight, and it feels like it was designed with lightness in mind, and it feels like that. Where this just happened to come out as a pretty lightweight knife. By the way, the Wharncliffe one's a bit heavier. Yeah, I would not get rid of both of them, or get rid of either of them, I should say. I just really like them both, and the Bugout is such an iconic knife now. It's just something that you kind of have to have and experience if you're a knife collector nerd like me. I think, yeah, if you're a guy who's only going to buy one knife or the other, I'd probably go for the Hogue. But if you're a guy who has multiple knives around, I think there's a place in my life for both of them. So I hope that's not an anticlimactic conclusion. I'm not calling it a tie. I am saying that the Deca won fair and square, but I'm still going to keep both of them. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.